Okay, as promised, there is part 3 of Black Talk Today. If you recall, this is a gentleman who has completely reversed course on his view of Kyle Rittenhouse. He was a pretty vicious Kyle basher. He had 2 other videos that he put out where he's really ripping into Kyle, calling him a murderer, basically claiming he's a product of white privilege and all that. And then he discovered the light. And by discovering the light, I mean he actually watched the videos of what took place. Now, he still has a major misconception, though. We're going to see that in this review. So, without further ado, hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
Hey subscribers, if you're looking to listen to a cool podcast, well, I got one recommended for you. It's called Black Talk Today. You can listen to it on Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. If you follow the links below in this video, it'll lead you directly to it. It's a very authentic, laid-back, honest podcast. Guaranteed you enjoy it.
And I have no problem going ahead and advertising this a little bit for him. Hey, if he's willing to reverse course and admit he was wrong, he deserves to be given a little bit of PR.
Whether you're at the gym, whether you're just cooking, or whether you're just taking a walk down the street, guarantee you'll be entertained. Don't forget to follow the podcast at all of the links described below so you don't miss any episodes. Let's talk about it. Back to Black Talk Today. In this particular video, I'm pretty much doing an update in a follow-up video in regard to the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting.
Now, this is an update his viewers do not want to hear, but that's okay. He's going to go ahead and lay it out to them anyway. I admire that. That's good.
Right? We know that he will be going to trial to basically face murder charges for the death of a man that he killed and a man that he attempted to kill. At least that's what the prosecutors will be trying to prove.
Now, notice he only mentions killed one person and wounded another. He's forgotten Joseph Rosenbaum, and you're going to see why that's going to kind of surface here again pretty shortly.
And I did a video a month ago, basically explaining how I felt in regard to Kyle, and I felt that he was actually guilty of murder, guilty of attempted murder, and that he should be thrown behind bars due to what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I'm here to say that I was 100% wrong. I was 100% wrong about Kyle Rittenhouse. And I have no problem admitting that. When a lot of these shootings occur where things may look black and white in one way, in one instance, and you may feel one way or you may want to side one way just due to the engineering, the social engineering that the media engineers on us and on our minds.
In other words, the social media and the mainstream media, they kind of know where your biases are and they play to that. And so they thought that Kyle Rittenhouse, man, this is a good, juicy story for us to push an agenda. And all they have to do is just sort of finagle the news a little bit, do a little bit of editing here, a little emphasizing there, and they can get people acting on it. And what happened is they created a firestorm of criticism against Kyle, and that's something that affected him.
And how they put American citizens against one another in the climate in the country. We, most of the time, tend to want to seek justice in situations where our biases, come in and play factors into how we may view things and how we may view individuals, especially if we feel like they are doing things that we couldn't have done. Right?
Just think about how this would have played out if the media had just been honest. If they had told us what happened, if they had withheld making comments and withheld doing all the little propaganda techniques that they do, all the clever editing stuff, if they had just played this thing up like the media would have done it maybe in the 1970s, where they told us the truth and they actually went in and did research before shooting their mouths off. This thing here would have been much different. People would have a much better balanced view of what took place, and the hostilities and the division would not have surfaced. However, we all know what happened.
And I wouldn't say that I was biased in any kind of way, but I felt like from watching the video, or at least the video that I saw initially, and not taking into context and knowing the facts of the circumstances in which Kyle Rittenhouse was operating under that day, I was quick to judgment. I was quick to immediately say that, he needs to be incarcerated. He needs to go to jail for murder and attempted murder.
What he is saying is that because the news media edited out everything, edited out the humanity, edited out that part that made Kyle look like a human being, it was easy for them to all of a sudden assume the worst in him and want jail time and heavy prison time.
There's a bias against black people when we commit murder, and how we are quickly charged and the books are thrown at us, and we don't get the benefit of the doubt. And most of the case, that is the sentiment and that is the circumstance. But in this Kyle Rittenhouse situation, just watching the videos and the evidence, and it speaks for itself. And if you can just look at the evidence for what it is, you'll realize that this young man, because he's a man now, but he was 17 when the shooting occurred, he didn't go down to Kenosha, Wisconsin with the intentions in his heart to murder anybody.
Okay, so just going back to what he said earlier, you can still believe that people of color are treated harsher than others. You don't have to give that up just because you think that Kyle Rittenhouse himself may be unjustly accused here. And that's one of the problems that we have, is that we assume that if I am woke, if I am BLM, I must have Kyle Rittenhouse pegged as a murderer because that's what's expected of me. And if I don't, then I've sort of let my whole political angle down. I've let my own political worldview down. You don't have to do that. It's perfectly okay to be pro-BLM, pro-woke, whatever you want to call it, and still think that Kyle is innocent.
He didn't go down there to Wisconsin with the intentions to do bodily harm, to assault, or to be a disruption.
He's absolutely right. All of that talk about how Kyle intentionally went there to hurt people is all based on assumptions. These are assumptions that people made about people who have rifles. A person who's carrying a rifle must want to be killing somebody. That's how they think. And so all the things that he did was all shoveled into that worldview. So everything that Kyle did was all evidence they needed that he must be a murderous fiend. For example, if you remember, he was wearing blue latex gloves when he first started during the night. He's wearing the blue latex gloves because he's going to be doing medical services. But what did they see? They saw a kid putting on blue latex gloves so to hide fingerprints and gunpowder residue because he's out to kill people. See how that works? Again, assumptions. Really bad thing to do.
Any of the protesting that was going on down there, actually, he was actually trying to be an aid to the circumstances of which the people were protesting down there for. But check out this video. Let's watch this video together, right?
Now, keep in mind, he has not acknowledged the issue going on with Joseph Rosenbaum. He's picking up where the two people attacked him as he's trying to make it to the police.
Because you're going to get to see an idea of the mindset of this young man prior to the actual shooting, because in the media, they killed him. They made him seem like he's this pariah, he's this lunatic, he's this angry teen who just was out for blood and just wanted to, link up with these anti-Black Lives Matter, adversaries or, members of white militia movements. And that's totally not what he was doing. But let's watch the video.
People are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way.
Independent journalist Richie McGinnis interviewed Kyle Rittenhouse the night police say the 17-year-old Antioch teen killed two people in Kenosha.
I don't know exactly what his motivations were. He did tell me that he was there to protect the peace and to provide medical attention.
Are you from the area?
I am from the area.
What brought you out here tonight? You just wanted to provide medical attention?
Provide medical attention to people that need it. If somebody's injured, like, you get hurt, I'm grabbing you.
What's really odd about the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing is how people can look at his demeanor and see evil and see a person out to hurt others. Nothing about him seems to indicate that at all. He's very jovial. He just comes off as just a really nice young kid. But for some reason, the people who hate him, they can watch him joke around, laugh, and smile, and they see the devil. It's really strange.
McGinnis is a witness cited in the criminal complaint filed by prosecutors in Kenosha County today.
The way that he was describing what his role was seemed very detached from the way that he was being perceived. And so that's what I mean when I say he seemed very naive.
Rittenhouse is heard on McGinnis's video saying medical.
If you'll notice, he walks towards these people. If he's looking for a confrontation, there they are. They're blocking the sidewalk. He's got a rifle. What does he do? He just walks away from them. He's not interested in confrontation. Nothing about anything he did on video that night indicates he had any desire to get into scuffles with people.
As he walked through the crowd tonight.
Now, of course, this man that obviously interviewed Kyle is going to be a key witness to, I would assume, testify on the defense of the mental state, right? And he would be able to testify more precisely than anyone else because he actually interviewed this man prior to the shooting and can tell you exactly what was in his mind, how he was feeling at the moment. Was he on edge? Was he angry? Was he, speaking in any kind of, aggressive manner? Did he have any sediment in his heart? But it doesn't seem like that. Now, mind you, I get it. To a lot of us, you might say, well, he's still carrying a long gun. He's still carrying an assault rifle in a state which he doesn't live in, of course. A rifle, a long gun, which he doesn't even own. Of course, he's in the wrong for that as well.
Well, that can be a little bit debatable, but I'll go ahead and give him this one. I'm not going to pick an argument on that.
Come to find out that he had to get a buddy of his to actually purchase the rifle for him. And actually, the buddy was holding the rifle at his home for Kyle until he became of age to legally own the rifle. But for whatever reason, right? And I'm not justifying it and making it seem like it's right for what he did, but he decided to go retrieve that rifle and carry it across state lines.
And again, he's got this one mixed up. He did not carry the gun across state lines. Again, this is about an assumption that people make. He's from Illinois. The shooting occurred in Wisconsin. Therefore, putting 2 plus 2 together, we get 5. that he must have carried the gun across state lines, but he did not.
Right? And enter Kenosha, Wisconsin. The incident should have never happened in the first place. But like myself, I've been accused of things that I didn't do. And my intentions were true. But someone else might say my intentions were other than what I alleged that they were. So I can empathize with what Kyle is going through in the sense of his character being assassinated and allegations are being levied against him which are not true, and he has no one other than maybe his parents, close relatives, and friends that's going to speak up for his behalf.
Actually, he does have others. There's quite a few of us now that have been rallying together and are fighting for justice for this kid. He does have his supporters out there, and these supporters typically are very well educated on the whole thing about Kenosha. The anti-Kyles, those who want him convicted, are not well educated. Most of their views are driven by misconceptions about what took place.
Because right now it looks like the media is trying to paint this perception in the court of public opinion that we need to teach this kid a lesson.
And I would go further. I would say not only do we have to teach this kid a lesson, but we have to do so to make up for the injustices that have been inflicted on some other people in the past. But Kyle's not responsible for that. We shouldn't inflict these injustices on him just because other people have been wronged in the past. Two wrongs don't make a right.
And I want to say pump the brakes again. Again, of course, legally he had no right to carry that rifle.
Debatable. I think he actually did. And I have a whole video on it. At first, for the longest time, and I'm talking months, I said no, his possession of that rifle was almost certainly a misdemeanor, or at least that's how the state is going to view it. And it was only a couple of weeks ago when I re-examined the law and what took place and said, holy cow, I had it wrong all the time. And I was prompted by a Twitter follower of mine who corrected the record, showed me an argument that I had not entertained before. And you know what? I had it all wrong, I think. I did a video where I changed my mind.
It wasn't his. He wasn't of age to operate it. He shouldn't have been in that state.
Now, he has every right to be in that state as anybody else. He has every much right to be in that state as the people from that state.
But I will not sit here and not admit that I was wrong by saying that this kid is a cold-blooded murderer and that he needs to be in jail. Kyle Rittenhouse was defending his life. His life was on the line. And if he didn't have that gun, he probably, and more likely than not, would have been a victim here. Then what conversation would we been having here today?
None. It would have just been another fatality. Nobody would have cared.
I'm going to show you another video that's going to show you Kyle defending his life from two attackers. But I want to give you some context before I show that video. You're going to see Kyle, walking up the street. And apparently there was someone that was shot. And in this particular area, for whatever reason, someone's pointing towards Kyle as the shooter. Someone's signaling him out or singling him out and claiming that he's the shooter because he has the long gun. So he's like, what? I'm no shooter. But people are still saying, no, that's the guy who shot that guy.
Okay, so here he has a misconception. He's under the impression that somebody was shot and that Kyle was unjustly accused of it. Kyle did shoot Rosenbaum. Nobody is disagreeing with that. Why he thinks otherwise, I'm not sure, because it's pretty much common knowledge. But to keep in mind that all of the arguments he's going to make in favor of Kyle and the way he handled himself is going to apply also to Rosenbaum, even more so. At least Huber and Grosskreutz could have at least a reasonable justification for attacking Kyle. In my opinion, it's stupid, but they at least could formulate one. Rosenbaum had none. He's just a lunatic looking for a fight, looking for somebody to hurt. But let's go ahead.
And then that's where it all begins, and that's where the murder happens, and that's where the attempted murder happens as well. Let's get into that video, because this is very important, and it's very important that people see this, because the media is not running it back this way. The media is not taking the time to put this into context. They're just painting it one broad stroke with one brush, and we just got to accept it because this is the way they're presenting it. And because they're presenting it this way, we got to believe it and take it at face value. And I just can't do that.
Okay, so what we're going to see is the actual shootings here of Huber and Grosskreutz, and he's absolutely right. The way the media portrayed this was they did some very careful editing and made it look as if Kyle was out looking for more people to shoot, and these two heroes came along and tried to stop him. No, that's not at all what happened. Kyle's running towards the police. The people chasing him know he's running to the police. They can see the police in front of him. Why didn't they let him go? Well, you know why. They thought they saw an easy target, somebody that they could assault who was defenseless, because they could not imagine that dude turning around and opening fire on them. Well, he did.
Let's play the video.
Let's just read this. Police are investigating vigilantes at the scene. What's a vigilante? It's a person who takes over a policeman and a judge's role in administering justice to people. None of these people that they're talking about are vigilantes. These are just hired security. They may even be doing the security on their own, but they're just protecting property from getting looted. That is not a vigilante. A vigilante would be going out there detaining people, arresting people, and administering justice. They did nothing of the sort. And it says, who said they arrived to protect. Notice how they put the word protect in quotation marks. Protect businesses from protesters. There's no quotation marks here. They were doing that. We have video evidence where they kept people off the property. Why put it in quotes? Well, you know why.
As you saw in the video, you see a man come attack Kyle with like a skateboard or something. And Kyle falls back and he retaliates because he's in fear for his life, which he's allowed to do. And he shoots that man for assaulting him with a deadly weapon. Then another man comes and act like he's going to assault Kyle. Kyle points the rifle at him. The guy puts his hands up. Kyle lowers the rifle as if he's like, okay, because the dude's retreating. He's not a threat. He's actually posturing in a way of, hey, I'm defenseless, don't shoot me. That's not something that a person that is going on a rampage, going around shooting someone would do, right? Someone that's angry, that's looking to kill people, that's, looking to just murder people. They're not going to stop shooting with someone with their hands up. No, they're going to shoot anyone and everyone within sight.
He makes a very good point there.
But that's not what Kyle did. Kyle stopped. That means he has self-control of that rifle. He has self-awareness. And he has morality. He has a respect for life. He could have killed that man that had his hands up at that point, but he didn't. But you know what that man that had his hands up decided to do? Once Kyle decided to lower that rifle, he then tried to pull out his handgun and shoot Kyle. And that's what Kyle shot him in the arm.
Whether or not Gage Grosskreutz tried to shoot Kyle or not is debatable. I'm not so sure, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is, did Kyle have a reason to believe that he might? In which case, he has every right to defend himself.
But see, the media doesn't play these clips back. The media doesn't give you the context because they don't have to. They want to create an agenda and they want to create a narrative for us to follow. And if we allow the media, which is the third estate, to continue to put us against each other without thinking critically, well, then that's what they're going to continuously do. And that's what they did in this case for me. They didn't allow me enough footage. They didn't release enough evidence for me to see. I had to go through third party and on the internet to find certain video footage and put certain timelines together, and people had to send it to me so that I can get a better view, an idea of exactly what happened, and that's what happened. So I have to apologize to Kyle Rittenhouse for my video that I did over a month ago, saying that he was a murderer and that he needs to go to jail. Key needs to be thrown away. No, this man defended his life, and he was in every right in each of those shootings to do so.
Okay, so just as a few notes here. One, Anthony Huber has been given pretty wide berth in this whole deal. He's been cast as a person just trying to stop Kyle from hurting others. Bullshit. Kyle is running towards the police. Huber had to see the police in front of them. Everybody knew where the police were, and you could see their lights right down the street. Huber flies in on his skateboard, gets off his skateboard, and takes a wide swing at Kyle's head. That's attempted murder of a person he doesn't even know if he's guilty or not. He doesn't know if Kyle has shot anybody. Or if he did, he doesn't know if Kyle's shot in self-defense. He doesn't know if Kyle is guilty. He's just going to go ahead and kill the dude anyway. Furthermore, he didn't have to. He came in on a skateboard from way in the back. His life was not threatened. His girlfriend's life was not threatened. Under no circumstances did he have to get involved in this. He could have just followed Kyle as Kyle went to the police, but no. He had to get off a skateboard and try to kill Kyle. Then, after he takes it, looks like I think he landed it, his skateboard goes flying off. He grabs the skateboard and takes another crack at it. And then he tries to hit Kyle with the skateboard after Kyle fires off a couple of shots at a dude who was very lucky to be alive. Anthony Huber at that point was extraordinarily irresponsible and rash. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Them AR-15s are loud. I mean, they're not loud like a 30-06, but they're loud enough to command respect. And when he heard that gun go off, he should have said, "Oh, no." But instead, he tries to get Kyle's gun. He grabs the gun by the barrel and pulls on it. Jesus Christ, guys, you can't do that. If you grab a gun by the barrel and pull it, and that dude's finger's on the trigger, you're going to blow yourself in half. And that's exactly what happened to Huber. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for Anthony Huber one bit. Why? I hate stupid people. That is stupid. As far as I'm concerned, if you're stupid, you get what you deserve. And frankly, his intentions were not good anyway. He saw Kyle as a kid trying to run as a political opponent. He thought he could get some licks in on somebody who he thought was defenseless. Well, he was wrong. Gage Grosskreutz is every bit as irresponsible as Huber. Gage holds up his hands. Kyle has just shot a dude. He's going to lay out there. He's dead. And Gage at that point should have said, okay, look, this is serious business here. He's already shot one person back there, I think. And I just saw him shoot Anthony Huber. Maybe I shouldn't get involved. Maybe I should go the other direction. After all, Kyle told him that he was going to the police, and that's where Kyle was going. Gage knew he was going to the police. Why not let him go? Instead, what does he try to do? Take the gun from him, and he pulls his pistol on him. And guess what? Kyle opens fire on him. He lost his arm like the big dummy he was. And I don't feel sorry one lick for him either. Again, I don't like stupid people. They were stupid. They got what they deserved. You can hate me all you want for it. I don't give a damn. I don't like those dudes. Why? I just don't like idiots.
And what's even more crazy, right, is that I have empathy for the victims.
You have more empathy than I do. I don't. Not a bit. Maybe the parents, although John Huber kind of got on my bad side anyway, but that's another story.
Both of the victims that Kyle Rittenhouse shot were white, but yet people were still telling me that I'm racist. Right? It's the weirdest shit.
Yeah, that's a dumb argument. Look, you can believe that Kyle is guilty and not be racist, okay? And I know that he made some comments about the fact that he wanted Kyle to pay because he was white. He did say that. I think he was mostly angry, though. I wouldn't have put too much stock in it. I'm trying to bend over backwards to see his side of things. I'm seeing more of a human being here, a thinking person, and I'm trying to give him some benefit of the doubt. And I think my followers should do the same.
I'm racist for wanting justice for victims that were killed that happen to be white, and Kyle Rittenhouse happens to be white. It was the weirdest shit over a month ago. I was getting all kind of hate, messages and comments in the comment box about the video. Hey, it is what it is, I guess, right? But the man that he actually killed, who was attacking him with like the skateboard, he was 26 years old, and his name was Anthony Huber. And that's the man who Kyle Rittenhouse shot. And that was the first man that he shot who hit Kyle with like the skateboard. Engage Grosskreutz.
Poor Gage. He hasn't been able to get anybody to pronounce his name correctly. Even his own lawyer, Motley, that's no surprise. But at any rate, it's Gage Grosskreutz. And the reason why we know is at his latest DUI hearing, he got in trouble again in November for another driving while under the influence. The judge asked him how he pronounced his name, and he said Gage Grosskreutz. His own attorney said Gage Grosskreutz. But then again, what do you expect from Motley?
22 years old, was the man that Kyle shot in the arm after Gage attempted to shoot Kyle with that handgun.
I thought Gage was older than that. I thought he was close to 30.
After Kyle lowered his rifle after Gage put his hands up. But what's even more crazy is that both the parents of Anthony Huber and Gage Grosskreutz are now suing Kyle Rittenhouse. They both have filed $10 million claims with the city as of recently. And they claim that the city and county of Kenosha and other government employees played a role in how the violence unfolded that day on August 25th. And this is the statement that they released. We're basically looking to sue different actors within the city of Kenosha, as well as the city of Kenosha itself, who we believe were negligent in their allowing of Mr. Rittenhouse to indiscriminately run around during the week and protest with a loaded weapon. Grosskreutz attorney Kimberly Motley told KTMJ-TV, adding, officers were giving water to different armed people that were down there, including offering it to the shooter. Grosskreutz noticed claims that he has suffered significant permanent physical damage, pain and suffering, as well as loss of income in future earnings due to negligence of law enforcement. While the notice filed by the estate of Huber claims the negligence resulted in Huber's death, Marley could not be reached immediately by the Forbes comment. Typically claims notices are prosecutors of lawsuits. People died that night. My client nearly died that night, Motley told WTMJ-TV.
Yeah, Motley is an idiot. I don't recall any time that I have ever seen her speak in front of a camera where I just didn't shake my head.
See, the problem that I have with these lawsuits, right, is that it wasn't illegal for people to carry long guns and to carry firearms in that state. It wasn't out the ordinary. It doesn't say in the Second Amendment that you can't carry long rifles or long guns or firearms during protests. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say there's a certain time and day, certain weather or time of the month that you can carry your firearm or your long gun. You also got to take into account during that time in Kenosha, Wisconsin, that people were destroying property, right? Not only were people destroying the property, they were, right, breaking into property, stealing the product and items in property. People were breaking into homes, right? So we got to take this all into account. People had every right to defend their property, especially if they feel like their life was in danger. Of course, they got the right to defend their lives too.
He makes a very good argument against the lawsuit here, in a sense that if the long guns are legally allowed during normal business day, the police can't come in there and just say, well, you have to give up your rights during this time because we think that things are a little hostile right now. Sure, the governor might be able to pose some sort of martial law, and in that case, you might be able to do something. But just because the police think that there is a dangerous situation doesn't mean they can take your rights away. If the people were allowed to carry long rifles during the rest of the week, they can carry them at the protests. The police cannot do anything about it. But there's another bigger problem with their lawsuit. The whole purpose of the curfew was so that things like what happened that night to Gage Grosskreutz and Anthony Huber don't happen. Well, they happened. Why? Because Anthony Huber and Gage Grosskreutz violated the curfew. The city can come back and say, look, we put a curfew in place so that this wouldn't happen. The plaintiffs here violated the curfew. They did what we told everybody not to do, and they got all shot up over it. Another case they can make is to say, look, Anthony Huber was not forced by the city to go chasing after Kyle, and neither was Gage Grosskreutz. Don't blame us. They chose to go after Kyle knowing full well that he was armed and knowing full well that he was capable of shooting somebody. And they chose to do it on their own. And guess what? They paid the price. Don't blame us. I have a feeling that's going to be a pretty strong argument. Nobody forced those dudes to do what they did.
So I don't see how you're going to win that lawsuit. And two, Mr. Grosskreutz was 22 years old. And Mr. Hubert was 26 years old at the time of his death. They both were full-grown adults who were well aware of the possibilities of what may and could occur during these times of protest.
Especially Gage Grosskreutz. He saw Kyle shoot at somebody right in front of him. I mean, and that didn't stop him from trying to take the rifle. He had an option. When he held up his hands, Kyle did not shoot him. He had an option. He didn't exercise it. Instead, he did some fool thing and got his arm blown off.
They didn't have to go that night and go out there and protest. Mr. Huber was carrying a firearm. Mr. Huber attempted to kill Kyle Rittenhouse.
He got it confused. He's talking about Gage.
Excuse me. You remember he hit him with the skateboard? Well, that's attempted murder. You can literally kill somebody with that.
And I have a video that shows many instances where that has happened.
Mr. Grosskreutz, or maybe I'm saying this guy's name, Gage Grosskreutz.
Poor Gage.
You attempted to shoot Kyle. You took out your firearm after you had your hands up and you saw him lower his rifle. You were looking for an opportunity to take his life at that moment. And he retaliated and shot you. He could have killed you. He could have continued to shoot you over and over again, but he shot you one time. So it's quite interesting that now you guys are trying to sue this young man due to your own negligence.
I think Kyle could actually sue Gage Grosskreutz for this. Kyle's argument would be, hey, I was trying to go to the police. I was trying to turn myself in for questioning, and you tried to stop me. You pulled a gun on me. You son of a bitch, I'm going to sue you. If I was Kyle, I'd think strongly about doing that. That's assault. You pull a gun on somebody like that, that's assault. And he had no good reason to do it.
It's quite outstanding to me. And it's quite clear to me that Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. Now, again, listen, I am a big Second Amendment guy. I support the NRA. I have declared that many times on my channel here. I'm an NRA guy as well. I believe and promote that African Americans should start exercising their Second Amendment right, and do it the legal, proper way. I know depending on which state you live in, it varies. Some states are stricter than others. Some states do not, and which is unconstitutional. They deny you that right to carry.
By the way, I'm not too pleased with the NRA lately. I think that they should be helping old Kyle here in some way, some fashion. I don't see it. I'm a lifetime member. I paid my dues, and I'm not too happy with them, but that's another video.
I say move to a state that allows you to defend your right and to defend your life. And the best way to do that is to be able to legally carry a firearm. That's why it was written into the Constitution by this country's forefathers who founded this country, right? And written the Constitution. So why wouldn't you want to exercise it? So yes, I do believe Kyle Rittenhouse is a candidate, a perfect candidate, to be a prime example of how to defend yourself and when to defend yourself and what is a prime example of self-defense here in this country. Because he is not guilty of murder. He is innocent. He acted in self-defense. He did not act with malice. He did not go to Kenosha, Wisconsin with the intention and with the intent to kill anybody. As you can see in the video that I showed, he was going down there to provide aid and to assist business owners who needed assistance with protecting their property. That's what the long rifle gun was for. So yes, there were many people out there that night with long rifles, long guns, handguns, etc. Just because you was there that night with weaponry does not make you a criminal. That's why when the police saw Kyle with his hands up and they were approaching him, they drove by him because they, for one, they were trying to respond to the injured. And two, it was common to see folks with weaponry in the street because it is legal to carry long guns in that state in the open like that.
Okay, I'll give them a third reason why they drove right past Kyle. Again, after Kyle shot Rosenbaum, somebody called him the N-word. They shouted it out loud. I think somebody called into 911 thinking that the perpetrator was black. And so they were looking for a black suspect. In fact, we know that at one time the dispatch told them to be on the lookout for a black suspect. And I believe that was because of the N-word being used. I'm not sure. I have no proof of it, but that's an idea that I have. I'd like to see somebody disprove it.
It's really not that hard to understand. So I just wanted to do an update video on this Kyle Rittenhouse situation. I was completely wrong. And when I'm wrong, I don't mind admitting it and getting the facts right. Once I see what the facts are and once I realize that they are irrefutable, you have to come back and acknowledge that and make your wrong and make it right. That's the only way that you're going to establish any kind of credibility, whether in life or whether on YouTube. That's the only way people are going to respect you. And I would rather people respect me, even if it means that I'm wrong and I got to come back and correct myself. That just goes to show that, hey, maybe I need to take, a little bit more time researching on things that are very important and sensitive before I just wholeheartedly jump out there and report on it and act on emotion. And I'm guilty of that. I'm human. Like
Okay, so I would suggest to him he needs to research a little bit more on the shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum. And guess what? My videos, pretty good source for that. I have a feeling that he's going to come back and say, you know, oh, Kyle was pretty innocent there too, because guess what? Rosenbaum ambushed him. Kyle ran. Kyle tried to get away from him. Rosenbaum chased him. Zeminski fired a gun. All that points to self-defense.
Anybody else? So, hope you guys understand where I'm coming from in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video going forward. Until next time, I'm Troy. Peace.
Here's what I find significant about this. What we had here was a vicious Kyle basher at one time. He called Kyle a white supremacist, said he was a murderer. He did the whole spiel. He fell for everything. But he fell for it because he was going on what he had been told by, guess what? Social media and the national media. He even had a video where he called Kyle a murderer and should not be even given bail, and said that Kyle was white privilege because of it. But here's the thing that's interesting. He's changed his mind when he saw the video evidence. And this raises a problem for the prosecution. The reason why is very simple. I have yet to hear a single person who is pro-Kyle, believe that Kyle was innocent, that has changed their mind as information came out. Not a single person. You show me someone that's done that. When this thing first broke, I thought Kyle was guilty. I was pretty mad at him because I thought he was a white supremacist that was going around shooting people. I'm a big gun rights dude. Man, I am all about gun rights, and I thought that this guy was compromising that. My feeling about it was, oh no, some idiot is running around in Wisconsin shooting people. There goes our gun rights. I changed my mind when information came out. And it came about from a video produced by Good Luck America, Rick Gore. He's a former cop. He's got a pretty good channel. He has a very anti-government stance that kind of suits me wrong sometimes. I agree with him a lot. But we needed a video on it, and he showed what happened. I watched that video and said, oh crap, this isn't at all what I thought. So I started investigating, and I started learning more and more. And the more I read, the more convinced I was that Kyle was innocent. And then when I heard about him throwing up in the garbage can at the police station, that's when I said, you know what? This is a kid who's being persecuted here. I think he needs some help. So I decided I'm just going to rally my video channel. I'm going to see what I can do for him, because I am now convinced fully that he is innocent. Now, as the prosecutor, you got a big problem here, because the jury is going to have 12 people on there. And let's say half of the people coming in are kind of inclined to believe that Kyle is guilty, and the other half are kind of inclined to believe that Kyle is innocent. How are you going to convince those who believe he is innocent to change their mind? Because as more and more evidence comes out, it becomes clearer and clearer that Kyle acted in self-defense. Most of the people are going to be like this dude. Even those who are anti-Kyle going in, as they see more and more evidence come out, they're going to start to change their mind. Remember, the prosecution has to get all 12 people to claim that Kyle did not act in self-defense. And some people are thinking, oh, well, no, Kyle has to prove that he did act in self-defense. No, not in Wisconsin. It's very clear. The prosecution has to convince all 12 people that Kyle did not act in self-defense beyond reasonable doubt. Good luck. Not going to happen. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. And you know what? Go over to his channel. Lay down some good comments. I think he deserves them. And he's probably catching a lot of heat from his own crew.